Hello everybody and welcome to Stone Avoid. I'm your host Jay Phillips, and joining me as always, Don Bowie,
Hey.
Patrick Collins.
Hello.
And after a week of exploring the new meta, we've kind of found out that Necrolance is about the only thing going on right now.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Xion looks kind of good.
Sylvia's pretty good.
Sylvia's pretty good. I've seen people running, mainly the Necrolance deck is what we've seen topping a lot of things.
Yeah.
Whether that's with...
It's the most consistent, strong deck. There are other decks that are strong. It's just the most consistent.
Right, and we've seen a few different rulers run it, which is interesting. So it almost doesn't even seem to matter what ruler you're picking too much. More or less
I think
that you're
Reflect Refrain's the strongest, but
It's the
Sylvia
best.
is a very strong sideboard.
You see
so.
Sylvia...
You gotta get those like Necrolances with the discard stuff.
You also see the Observer. I think I even seen a top 8 list.
Yeah,
where
he's
in
coming
there.
around.
So it's been just different variations of the Necrolance deck.
Red.
Yeah.
Red.
All the top 8s in the Master
We're back to the
qualifiers.
Bahamut era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought a shakeup in the meta would have, as dramatic as this one would, it would have opened up more options for like Xion to have done something because she's very powerful, or even Kaguya.
I mean, she is still Shion's still popping her head out, just not
Yeah,
as
just not as
prominently as she used to.
The Kaguya deck I've been running is very well built to deal with red decks, and I feel like it's a really great matchup for these red decks, but it's still I don't see any of those topping, and I don't know necessarily why. I would like to just see how the meta grows from here over the next couple of weeks and see if there's something else that does pop up. Because if we're just in Necrolance, it isn't any better than back in being with.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't this
Else's
happen
world.
every time? Because, like, it's a new rotation. Everybody's playing red aggro, and that's what's winning because the mid-range and the stolly decks, like, take time to perfect. and
That
stuff
is
like
true. And I would say that is almost always true with, like, a new set coming in.
Mm-hmm.
However, we've seen foreign lists develop and the foreign tournaments were doing this before us, so you think there would have been a little bit more of a guideline coming into this where we wouldn't see just the red decks pumping out wins one after another. I'm kind of surprised that, this far into it already.
Yeah.
Sure, it's only a week to 2 weeks in for us for the Switch, but it is, a month and some for the foreign
For,
tournaments?
like, in Italy, it's been a long time. Like, 1
Right.
or 2 months.
So I really wish that we would just see more from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was really diverse at first, but now it's the most recent Italy list was almost entirely Necrolance, or some variation of Necrolance.
Yeah. I feel like the new set will help a lot and shake up things a lot, which is nice because there's a lot of cards in there that I want to play with, but it might just turn into... well, actually, I honestly don't know where the new set's going to take us necessarily, but we just need something to shake it up a little bit more. But unfortunately, we had the LA tournament before we get to play with the new stuff, so it's quite a ways out already still. I know, is there anything that you guys are excited with that's already, that you guys have been developing, or any decks that you guys want to try out before we get the new set?
I mean, I really enjoyed Hong Long before the rotation. I think I might want to try it again. It's definitely going to be slower, and I'm very, very worried about Flame King Shout, and all the red decks play Flame King Shout.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of 2-ofs or 3-ofs of that in almost every deck, if not having the full 4 in sideboard.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is holding at least one green mana open the whole time to have
Wall of
a
Wind.
wall of wind.
And even that's not even a very safe bet.
Yeah.
So you die pretty heavily to Flame King Shout?
I mean, just with all your, you're trying to mana dork into Hong Long, if you get Hong Long out against a red deck, I think you're doing pretty well, but I mean, you can't do it as fast without the Gretels and, all those perfect green stones that you had before. Now you're forced to use Regalia, as before you didn't have to, but you need Regalia for the...
Yeah, it sounds really hard to do without all those dual stones, like landing that perfect greens and all those. Just Ruler's Memoria, and that's all.
What about playing with actual Persia?
Thinking about that.
Because she would color fix for you.
Yeah, but then you need to play, Foment to cycle the beast back in your deck.
I guess.
You need a way to put those beasts back in your deck if you keep drawing them instead of your
Well, yeah, playing with all 4 regalia, being able to drop them for cheaper could be slightly irrelevant.
No, it probably could. Just you're taking away consistency with, I guess, early board presence. So, I mean, it's definitely more of a gamble, right?
It's kind of true. Also, you're still trying to play probably, blue-green with that, and no dual stones once again makes it a little bit harder. Yeah, it's kind of a weird idea to work around with. How about you? Is there anything that you've been looking forward to playing?
I've been trying to play black, just because Space-Time Anomaly is just such a great card that I want to use it more. And Scorn is really good, but there's nothing in black that's particularly amazing.
And Space-Time Anomaly forces you into blue as well, which...
Yeah, so I'm forcing black-blue, and I think that's going to be my main colors that I'm going to build on. But besides those guys, Tom Hanks and Celestial Wing Seraph with Lucifer is also a great combo.
Well, who do you like as your ruler so far with the black-blue?
Today I tried Gil Rabis, and he was alright. He was a good control ruler. I don't know. I'll have to try out Xion next. And I don't think my build was that good today, so can't really tell.
Well, what are you going to do with Xion?
Play Celestial Wing Seraph.
Are you going to play with her stones?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Maybe like 1 or 2 of, but black, blue, and Ruler's Memoria.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
about it.
I've been having really good success with Kaguya beating red decks, and it seems like a really great choice if that was how tournaments actually played out. But one thing I learned really quickly on, unlike in Magic where you can show up and half of the field is 70% Jund decks, everybody's running what's top meta in Magic, and you run into it so heavily because of the large amount of people, and the variance is the 30 some odd decks are just random. You really can build towards meta in Magic and hope to play against those decks, do really well, and win because of that. Playing against the meta in Force of Will is really hard because you show up and over half of the field is actually running different decks. Yeah. And so punishing the top tier deck with something like Kage that destroys red stuff on enter for a lot of the cards, has a lot of ways to not die to King Shout, has all these answers to the red decks, decides to die against everything else. Yeah. And you can't sideboard enough out to fix that. And so having a meta killing deck in Force of Will is kind of hard to do. It will lose to everything else. And that's kind of just a problem that I'm running into.
Yeah. I mean, in Vegas, we were talking to, all the people with the unique decks. Yeah. They kept on coming up to us and just be like, dang, I haven't played a single meta deck yet. I've been playing all these outcast decks. Mm-hmm. And I'm not doing as strong as I could be if I was just playing against the meta.
That's what I learned about doing in LA. The reason why I drew matches is every draw that I had was against a non-meta deck. And every win that I had, prepared for. Yeah, I won against so many decks that I was prepared for. I was like, yeah, this is what I built this for. And then I ended up with 4 draws that day. Yeah. Because it was also I went second, which sucked. But I only had 1 loss for the entire day, which was kind of nice. Just all those draws.
Draws are rough. 50 minutes is not that much time to play a full-length game. 3 matches. Yeah. If you go into round 3, it's most definitely a draw, unless you're playing red aggro super fast or something.
Well, and I'm also the jerk that forces the draw because I knew that I can't win on the draw, so I was like, if I lose this one, then I get a play and I win on the play, and then I lose again on the draw. So I was like, I'm just gonna stall out the draw, and which I can. The deck wouldn't lose, but it wouldn't win, which is a total problem. I even had one. The judge looks at me and you're like, so you guys are in game 3 on the draw, right? And I was like, no, game 1. And he was just confused. Like, he's playing a basically red deck, and you're playing because he was playing Bahamut, which I wasn't prepared for. And he's like, how dare you at time against a Bahamut deck? And I was like, I prepared for Ellis's World. My bad. So that's a weird thing, but we don't have that looking forward anymore. Trying to prepare for the next everything. I really don't know where to go with a deck necessarily because you can't build that hate deck.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I do so well, is being able to beat out the meta, which a lot of people apparently are good, but we're not good against each other.
Yeah.
Which means playing meta beats a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a weird dynamic with, because a lot of people aren't actually built for against meta, so you just see like the meta deck kind of weed all those out, and those non-meta decks beat me, which it's a terrible rock paper scissors game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about the rotation after like 2 weeks of it?
Well, I mean, it seemed exciting at first because
Yeah.
there were quite a few diverse decks out there. Like Machina was thought to be a thing, and a few of the other rulers were kind of popping their heads up as well. But now it just seems like it's Necrolance.
Yeah, I felt more comfortable playing unique decks before the early ban. I felt like there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to still try, things that I didn't get to try yet, things that I want to build with in general that I just don't get to now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
now I'm kind of forced into a hole of, well, what's the best ruler, R&R, which I don't necessarily think, like, I think you could have got away with other rulers before this, where R&R is kind of a little bit more dominant now. And it feels really weird.
I don't know if R&R is actually the problem right now. I think it's the Necrolance deck.
I
Right,
mean,
but there's answers to Necrolance deck before this. Because I played against the
That's
Necrolance
true.
deck a
But
lot
I mean,
before this
if it's
occurred.
not Necrolance, then it's Alice's World.
but it wasn't even Alice's World. Like the top 8
Those were starting to rotate out.
was starting to rotate out because Huanglong.
Vegas had
like
quite
that.
a few Alice's Worlds in the top 8. It had at least like
Yeah.
4.
Yeah,
A
but
few,
you were
but-
at least seeing other things creeping in.
That's true. I guess there was that one crazy control deck
Yeah,
that had just a bunch of random cards in it. That
Yeah.
did really well.
Gil Rabis, like, it was at the top table for a while, and even like over in Singapore, Kaguya 1.0 got in, and that
And-
was a deck I was playing. And it was super fun.
And Dark Alice did too.
Right. So we've lost a lot of those decks that were starting to creep up out of nowhere. I would have really liked to see that fully come to it, like, out. Now we just don't get that chance.
I just feel like the power level just dropped a lot after the banning, and I kind of miss it. Like,
But I mean,
I
that
had
kind of
this
happened. I mean,
big
as you were
pool.
saying earlier, everyone just plays Red Rush at the beginning. Like,
Well,
we
Red
might
got
need
this
some.
most hit.
We might need some time for
Yeah. See, one of the bigger things that bothers me about this too is Red didn't take a hit like everybody else did. Red has had Lance a lot since
Grim.
Well, it
in
lost
the
its
Grim
spells.
third set. Like,
It didn't
lost
lose
Thunder.
its resonators though.
Yeah, it lost Thunder, which was
And Split.
and
Split
Yeah.
was the main thing that killed me.
And
But
Cthulhu's a good
the
one,
funny thing
too.
about losing Split is we lost all the dual stones.
Yeah, that's
it's kind
true.
of one of those things where it's like you
It
lost
doesn't
the
matter.
card that doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It actually doesn't matter.
And I
It's
miss those stones a lot.
the stones really
hurts.
created really unique, fun decks, and I'm starting to like the rotation more, less and less now that we talk about it. It's something that I could have waited a while for it.
It's hurting now because Force of Will isn't a game of chance. Like, those stones like eliminated that game of chance that we played with, and now if you like flip one of your single stones, like your single blue stone off the top, and you can't play your 1-drop now. Like, there's more of a chance of random things that mess you up.
Yes, it's slightly a reason why I'm surprised Fairies isn't doing a little bit better. Is
Yeah.
because they're able to stay consistent with 5 colors and do a little bit more things. Which, when we get to spoilers at the end of today, there's actually a lot of Fairy support coming in, which I'm super excited to see support coming in the new set.
I
But
think
that's so far
why
out.
Flame King Shout is still.
Being played is for Fairies. That makes sense.
And then if you can't kill all the fairies off of Flame King Shout with, if they have Vivian, then that Earther's seeing a lot of play to
Man.
finish off
Flame
whatever they don't kill. So Earther can kill the Vivian if it's not successful killing all the other fairies.
Flame King Shout is another card that we've had since forever.
Yeah. But I mean, it's kind of like I don't know, it's not a broken card by any means.
It's pretty. It's pretty
strong.
It's really, really good. Until we get the actual board wipe in the next set, there's nothing on par with it in another color, and that's a big problem. Is there's literally in other colors nothing to compare the power level of red with.
I've read.
There's
what about Gwyber?
Gwyber is this weird fluke card that ends up in red decks because
He's not
it.
seeing any play right now.
Yeah,
it's
not
also play in red blue blazer back in the day, but that stone base was so inconsistent. I don't know how it did so well, but
well, we might see a resurgence of that in very soon.
I mean, can Kaguya fit in your green white? Or sorry, Kaguya. Can Gwyber fit in the green white?
Oddly, no.
No, you can't like Gwyber on top of like a green and a white thing. And
you have so much awakening in the deck that I've been running to deal with the red decks that Gwyber's
slower.
It's slower, and against other decks, that's the problem. Is like you're dead against so many decks that you don't have built-in removal against.
So Gwyber was strong because of all the 1-drops that drew right in the past.
Yeah, a bunch of the little cantrip guys, and also the almost perfect color base. The fact that you could play a Gwyber in your red, in your any deck,
color deck,
that it didn't really matter. I mean, and then Adam Brawley just personified that. So
because last set we had 8 stones that produce 5 colors in the mana deck, so
yeah,
that was perfect mana base forever. So
it's kind of insane. I'm surprised that we're not going to see more rulers that do have the. There's Blazer, Kaguya, and Sylvia who produce alternate colors for their mana, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised we don't see a little bit more from them. Yeah.
Are they all red?
No, 2 of them are red.
Well,
Kaguya produces,
Sylvia makes green, but
yellow.
she's red based. So
yeah. It's kind of hard. It's just really, really weird. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to say about that.
I mean, are there any cards that you think are being underused right now? Like,
they all died to Flame King Shout, so no.
The cards that you would expect.
Space-time anomaly.
Yeah, space-time anomaly can rear its ugly head out there.
I had a really fun idea for Alice and a bunch of the scouts, and being able to have a really wide mana base with the regalia and all those things. I thought that could be a lot of fun.
Deeply.
And then it dies to Flame King Shout, so it doesn't matter. But it was like, do all this cool stuff in Gwyber and just, and no.
I don't know if you keep those counters up,
That's the problem, is the deck wasn't running too many counters. It was, and that may be something I need to change, but it was a really fast-paced deck where you could put out little scouts, Adam Brawling, Gwyber, almost as fast as you used to be able to, and very consistently in late game being able to just shove in scouts with the regalia off of your Alice. And it's a really fun deck that just gets board wiped really too easily.
Yeah.
And then you have a Gwyber that doesn't do much against an entire field of, aggressiveness. Although there is the really fun quick kill with the little yellow scout and untapping your Gwyber and hitting them twice with it in a turn to finish them really fast. It's a powerful deck, but it's, once again, you can lose your entire setup in a turn thanks to Flame King Shout.
Yeah.
Which without that card, you could do a lot more. And you can't hold counters open a lot, so it's kind of one of those things. It's hard to deal with. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about for the week before we get into spoilers?
Not really. There's not been that many news recently.
Cool. Well, then moving into the spoiler part of the podcast, for any of you guys that haven't already seen the spoilers, the first thing that we have up is going to be the blue stuff. If you've already seen the spoilers, definitely still hang out for our discussion on them, as we kind of have odd ideas of what some of these cards are going to be doing for us. But first up, I don't think this card's going to be doing too much, which is set free for 3 water, which is a hard casting. We get one of the blue rares, which is put target resonator on top of its owner's main deck, put up to 1 second target resonator on the top of its owner's main deck if this card was kicked, which its kicking is 2 more blue. So if you magically have 5 blue and you didn't play something better, you can instant speed bounce 2 things to the top of the deck.
I kind of like it.
I kind of like it too.
It's like a plow under.
Well, it's to the top. It doesn't knock it to the bottom.
Isn't that what plow under
We have
does?
other things in... no, plow under puts things on the bottom of the deck. in Magic.
It does.
We have
No,
other
it
things in
puts
this
on
game
top.
that put things on
It
top.
puts 2 lands on top. Plow Under does.
2 lands. You're right, but this is only resonators. I kind of forgot what that does. So this is just resonators. It just targets creatures, and it only targets
pretty
1
good.
for 3. We have other things, though, that have done this, that I've never seen play.
Yeah?
Yeah, the original Apollo would put things on top.
Apollo.
Yes. For 1 white, 1 blue, and a generic, I believe. you get to put
Apollo break. That's
Yeah,
only
Apollo
if you
break.
played the ruler, though. You
No,
would
no,
put it on
no.
top.
No,
Then it goes on bottom for
the
playing
ruler,
and
and
you
you
have
draw a
to
card.
and you have to do 2 moon or something like that. Either way, we've had other abilities that did this. There's also
There's
send
too many
back.
things with swiftness.
Yeah, we have send back and a few other things that just really this doesn't do
There's
much.
just way too many resonators with swiftness. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for 3 green, there was a card that straight up exiled it that never saw play for the longest time. That also not only exiled it, but it exiled all the copies in your opponent's hand and all the cards in your library. For 3 blue, this is so slow you don't get to do anything. We've seen these cards already that were better.
Yeah, but Shahar's, you had to play the ruler for that one too, right?
If you didn't
Or
play the ruler,
Charizard.
then it just put it on top of your opponent's library.
It was into
what
the
this card-
hand.
No, it goes on top.
Really?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I actually played that deck when I first started playing back
It
in.
was broken.
Uh,
It was so good.
It was good for a while. I don't think it's good. This type of effect is good right now,
Sure.
and especially for 5 for 2 of them. That's a lot of do nothing on that turn.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of pseudo removal that they're just gonna. I don't know.
You could potentially swing in for game on that kind of.
You would sell me on this if it was 2 blue and a colorless,
Okay.
or any permutation of that. Anything that's just slightly better than 3 blue, because you're committing to a color that is crap, and we don't have dual stones for.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. There's nothing in blue that's that good.
Give me this in green. Sure, I might play it in green. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. If you always want to bet on it, I'm always here for bets. Next up, we have Separation of Body and Soul for 1 blue, which is a much better cost. However, it is only a chance, not an instant. Destroy target resonator with attack different from its printed attack and defense. For its printed defense. I said that really weird. Long story short, you use R&R to change the attack of your opponent's creature, and then you kill it for 1. We already had a card in the old set that was 2 mana that did this, and this is 1 mana that does this. It's going to see a lot of play because that's a really good combo. Blue,
It's not instant, but it's still pretty good.
It's Portal of Truth, right? It's the same
It's
thing.
Yeah,
Portal
but it's
Truth.
1 mana now, and it gives blue removal.
but it is in
the
blue.
same thing as Portal of
Yes,
Truth, right?
It's better Portal of Truth.
Okay, cool. That's it.
I think it's arguably you can argue portable of
Because it's instant?
yeah.
That
And then
is
you
true.
can also put it face down and save it for later.
It's not a chance standby.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Portal of Truth.
I
It
thought
totally is.
Portal of Truth
It's
was-
a chance standby.
I thought it's
think
just
it
an
is.
instant.
It's totally a chance standby.
It's just an instant.
We could
really
smoothie
quick-
bet this one.
Well, I'm about to look it up in a second. Why I look it up, though, we're going to talk about the next card, which is Slayer of Overlord Persia, which is this is a shift card. For 1 green, 1 colorless, it is a beast, which is very relevant. 400 attack, 500 defense. You may shift it for 2 blue and a colorless, which means you can flip it to the other side anytime you could play a spell chant. When this card enters the field, it gains this card and target J/Resonator opponent controls deal damage equal to each other, to their attacks to each other. It also has pay 1. This card gains plus 100 until end of turn. Really good card. So go ahead and
I don't think it's that good.
It's
a 2 mana
pretty
fighter.
good.
It comes into play and kills
What?
your
A
opponent's
rook
one drop.
egg?
A
A
mana?
Guinevere?
Guinevere.
A
something like that.
Guinevere? A
Then they
Ramper?
sack it?
A Ramper or like something? It's a kill spell.
So it's the same as Black's having. Sorry, Black. Darkness having the ability to play for 4 mana, kill a Lancelot. Because that's what their ability does right now. With
That
the,
doesn't kill Lancelot.
It does, because it gains plus 100 for each
If you're
time you
still
flip it.
alive by turn 4, if they have a Lancelot already.
So in turn 4, you play it down, add 2 to it, and it does 600 damage to the creature. So
and even then, if you play it turn 2, you can still pump it up for 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's like fire breathing on a creature.
Yeah. So it has fire breathing for late game. It kills a Lancelot on turn 4, which black does as well. Like it's
I guess it could kill a Lancelot on turn 2 if you have the globes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways that this is actually really relevant, and the fact that it's a beast means that it's synergy with other things in the set. I mean, I think this is a really great card. And the shift ability, shifting it to the other side, which is going to be Processor.
Okay. Yeah. Possessor.
Possessor, Priscia of Love, and Princess of Love and Valentina. I am so good with this lettering, guys. Please change.
Well, her hair is kind of like her ribbons are kind of in the way. Also,
this one you can play on this side as well for 2 blue and 1 colorless, or the shift as if you wanted. Which this side is a 12 Apostle, finishing up the 12 Apostle cycle.
When this card is Valentina, though.
When this card is put into the graveyard from your field, gain control of target resonator. So not only did that card allow you to fight something when it came in, next turn you can flip it and steal
if it's still alive.
If it's still alive. But even this side's really good. A 3-mana steal.
I like this side more. I like this side way more.
Yeah.
I think this is the side you almost
both sides are relevant.
I think this side's way more relevant.
I think both sides are relevant, too.
Mm-hmm. I think this side's like way more relevant.
I'm just surprised that they're making the steal. So stealing your opponent's creature used to cost 5 with what's her name? Lil Dread would steal a creature for 5, and it was only for 1 turn. Then we get for 4 mana, we get Valentina. Which
there's also that spell that steals it.
Charm
2 blue and
X.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the X one, that's really expensive to steal something.
Yeah.
Valentina, as soon as she dies, they get the thing back. When this thing dies, so when this card is put in your graveyard from your field, you can control target resonator. As soon as she dies, you just get to keep it now.
Every Valentina card actually has had the ability to steal.
Well, they're just making it cheaper and cheaper now. Like it's now costs 3 mana to steal your opponent's creature, which is crazy how much they've cheapened that up. So go ahead and talk about that really quick as I search Portal of Truth.
I would definitely play it. Even like if you're playing Levitain, you can just pay that 3, block something, or even if you don't block, you can just steal a creature and then block with their creature or something.
Yeah, it's a way around Arthur and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Breaking news: Portal of Truth is a standby. My
Smoothie.
bad. Hey, no, that ain't bad anything. But I just have never played it as a chance standby because it's almost relevant to every time that's in my hand, and it's just easier to.
Yeah, I don't have a spine either. Yeah, you don't keep talking.
No, it's just I've never even thought to put it down.
Yeah, it costs 2, and it costs 2 to put down. It's basically the same thing.
And also, you can't do it on your opponent's turn anymore because you can't use it on their, buff.
You can necrolance their lance.
Yeah, if they have something that buffs their stuff on their turn, you can flip it.
Ooh, that actually the new blue card makes me kind of excited against necrolance. That is kind of true.
The stealing?
No, the being able to kill because it's buffed differently. Next up, we have Protection of Alice, which is 2 green, and it is a addition resonator, because those have always been really good. Added resonator gains plus 200, plus 200 for each resonator you control.
Sounds like a fairies card.
Sounds like a unplayed card.
Yeah, I like the derpy faces, though. They're just like...
They have no noses or anything. Yeah. They're just weird.
Next up, we have
Spectating Magician.
Okay, thank you. 2 water, 2 colorless. It is a 400 attack, 800 defense, and it is a wizard/ancient, which I've seen a lot of ancient things popping up. So hopefully that's an archetype that's going to become relevant.
It is a past archetype too, not a very strong one. But.
When this card enters your field, put target spell chant or spell chant instant from your graveyard into your hand. If that card costs is 1, you may put it in or play it without paying its cost instead of putting it into your hand. So it's
It's reminiscent of Oz and Oz's Magic to me.
Yeah, this is a Snapcaster-esque ability, or a that Mnemonic Wall in Magic.
Yeah.
This ability is relevant, and people will play it. So I'm
Only if it had like flash.
that would be even
Something
more
like
important.
that.
Yeah,
If
so
it
it's
had-
more
If it
Mnemonic
had
Wall.
quick cast,
He's
yeah,
way
it'd probably be
too much
really
mana.
good.
Mnemonic Wall still sees playing standard Magic.
Yeah, but this costs 4. Like,
Mnemonic Wall costs 5 or 4.
I don't know.
I think it's a card that might see play. I don't think it's necessarily very good, or that it's going to see a lot of play, but I think it's going to see some fringe play. It's relevant-ish.
It only gets 1 cost cards.
It gets
right?
the kill Necrolance spell back.
No, it gets any card back, but you can cast
Well,
the
but it
one
gets the
drop
free
for
cast.
free if you get.
Oh,
No, it gets any
Yeah,
spell back.
anything back. It just you get to cast the one drop. Yeah.
there's just not much that I would want to get. Like
There's
if you get
Soul Hunt. And,
if you get a 2 cost kill spell, that's like
But
You're
if you
paying-
get
well,
the
you
one
can
cost
get you
kill
can get
spell,
that one blue cost kill spell.
true.
so
true.
kill Lancelot,
Only if they're buffed.
which they almost always are.
True. I don't know.
I
I can smoothly bet you guys.
On that card? I don't think that
I
card's
don't-
going to see play.
I think it's going to see fringe play.
I think it's good.
I don't think
though.
it's top 8.
I mean, I like
Yeah.
those red and black beasts that you guys don't like, but I don't think they're going to see play, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys.
It's just like a good mid-ground card.
Okay.
So next up, we have Xion, Liberator of Shangri-La, 2 blue, and it is a human 500/500. When this card enters the field, draw a card. If your opponent has more cards in their hand than you, 1 blue, tap, discard a card, return another target resonator to its owner's hand. Meh. Abilities.
I dig it.
I kind of dig it, but you're losing cards to bounce their cards, kind of.
If you're
kinda weak.
playing like cards that want to be in the graveyard, like Necrolance or like Necromancy of the Undead,
Yeah,
Lord,
it's got a
or, like,
particular deck.
Death Scythe or.
It doesn't
stuff
draw
like
you
that.
a card guaranteed, though, is my biggest problem. It can enter the field as a 500/500 and do nothing.
Yeah.
And blue
which I think
usually
is-
stays ahead of the game when it comes to draw power.
I think this is kind of too weak to be relevant.
It's good in like a Valentina 1.0 deck.
Yeah. But Valentina 1.0 still isn't really that relevant.
And also, you have to be down on cards for it to draw you a card.
True.
It's just, I don't think it's relevant enough to be played.
Yeah.
It's almost there.
It's almost
It,
there.
it is almost there. I think the 500/500 body for 2 is just the really weak part.
It's a bouncer though. It can like if you're attacking with something big, then you can just bounce their card.
But you lose a card by doing so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather keep cards.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I'd rather keep cards.
Now, next up, we finally get to switch over to the spoilers that occurred on, I believe, Tuesday, which is really awesome because these cards, I think, are going to have the most impact coming up into the rotation for fairies. This just seems just really interesting. Midsummer's Night King Oberon, I believe is his name, correct? Yes. Which is a fairy. He's 400 attack, 600 defense. I believe Oberon in lore is the king of fairies, correct? Yeah. So he has flying, he has quick cast, which is super relevant, and fairies in your hand gain quick cast, which is insane. This card, I think, is going to push fairies very heavily.
Yeah.
It's one of the cards I'm
I'm
really
just
excited
glad it's
for.
not a one drop. Like,
No, yeah, I mean, then it would just be a broken version.
well, I
of-
mean, I know its stats would need to change if it was a one drop, but like if it was like a one drop, even if it was like a 0/1 and gave all other fairies quick cast, that would still be like.
we have
just
a
so
card
broken.
that's a 0/2 that gives all green things quick cast
I guess that's true.
and gets bigger every time a creature enters the battlefield, which is a nutty broken card that I hope finds play sooner or later.
Yeah, that card's seeing not much play, and it's really
No,
good.
it's really insanely
I
good.
remember it being spoiled and being like, "This is the best card ever."
And I
Whoa.
immediately got a full art playset.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
we missed that guy.
I'm probably going to try and build it with him very, very soon because, I mean, I have a foil playset.
I mean, there is an aggro beast deck out there. You know?
Yeah.
Prissy is a beast.
She is.
Yeah.
All the beasts. Play all the Prissies.
Next up, we have Song of the Fairy King, which is 2 green, 3 colorless. Put up to 5 target fairy resonators with total cost 1 from your graveyard into your field. So this is the same thing as a rabbit spell, but better, although it does cost more. I believe the rabbit bring back everything spell was 4 and brings back 3 of them. And this is 5, bring back 5. This is kind of insane because there's a ton of 1-drop fairies.
I don't know if this is going to see play. I mean, it is kind of something fairies needs, but...
It's kind of... I mean, it's
pretty good.
It's the
never
best.
a
it
dead
is
draw.
a good card.
It's a really good 5-drop. I mean, it
does
huge
a
amount
lot.
of power. It brings back
Is it an instant?
so many...
Okay.
It's not. It's a spell chant. So
But
you're...
the fact that they come into play is amazing.
Yeah,
You're
but
open
if-
to this getting countered and all the whatnot. That's true, but I mean, it is nuts to get 5 fairies back in 1 turn.
That's a lot of value for
Like,
one
this is
card.
almost a card that's, like, actually worth playing at 5.
Yeah, no, this can end games. I mean, and it can also do a bunch of nothing.
It's probably, like, a sideboard card.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to play it against a deck that can counter it.
Yeah.
But you play it against a deck that can't do much about it. I think even against a red deck, it's a scary thing. Even though they could have a Flame King Shout, chances are all those things are in the graveyard because they used Flame King Shout on you
Exactly.
earlier, which means they're down on them, and it's not. I don't know. This card could resolve and just ruin their day. Circle of Trust. Yeah, 2 white. It is a spell chant. Choose 1. Search your main deck for up to 2 fairy resonators. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your main deck. All fairy resonators you control gain plus 400 until end of turn. This is a crazy good tutor. Getting 2 fairies.
I wish they would have just, like, kind of helped Fairy Alice out and be like, you could use both these modes if Fairy Alice is your ruler. Because she needs so much help.
No.
She needs so much
She does,
help.
but then this card would be completely playable and awesome. Card disadvantage is usually a bad thing, but since this gets you 2 of them, this card is actually good. If it just got you 1, I don't really think it would have been that great.
Yeah,
but-
that 4/4 buff is actually really good.
That's a relevant swing, considering there's
all?
other things that...
All
yeah,
fairies.
to all. So there's so many times that you can play this plus the other buffs that fairies get and go for lethal turns really fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be played, though. It's kind of a
Yeah, it's probably not going to be played, but it's really close to being. All these fairy cards are either, like, good or close. Like,
Yeah. We have Fairy of the Sacred Vision. One yellow. Banish this card. Destroy target addition or card in chance standby area. It is attack 100, defense of 600. This is kind of relevant.
I think this is probably my favorite card of the spoilers.
You really think so?
So this is maybe
Mine?
a sideboard card.
It replaces the Holy Wolf, which is a 2-mana drop that kills additions.
Yeah.
So this is very relevant for the addition hate, and maybe soon if chance standbys become relevant again.
I think this card ends up in a ton of decks.
I think
That's
this
not just
replaces the
fairies.
wolf.
I think it's a easy sideboard card.
It's definitely
Of course, you
seeing
have to be
sideboard
playing
play.
Yeah,
No
but
doubt
what
about it.
edition is being played right now? That's
Barrier Shadows.
That's only for
Barrier Shadows, and then
Valentina 2.0.
more than
right?
likely, when Secluded Refuge, my favorite card in the world, will eventually see play.
Also, chance standby is a huge hitter. There's a ton of chance standby that's relevant.
And the
right
fact
now.
that it's a 1/6 for a 1-drop,
It's
you
not
know,
bad.
it can block quite a few things in the beginning.
It's funny that it's another fairy that doesn't have flying.
It doesn't have flying, but it'd probably be too broken if it did have flying, though. I would say it'd be too
But
good.
fairy should be flying.
Not that one.
It's
got Sacred Vision. It's probably
Dude,
like
it's-
blind.
It's got a pretty big butt.
It probably like ran its wings into some branch and it's broken
It's blind.
because of its Sacred Vision.
Gathering of the Fairies is our next card, which is for 1 white or 1 light. Gain gain 1,000 life.
And that's
It's
it.
a spell chant. It's not an instant. It'd be better if it was an instant. This might combo off with things in the set. It might do something at some point. I don't think it does much right now. However, gaining 1,000 life is kind of nuts.
Yeah, like this card is extremely boring and you'll probably never see play, but at the same time, they're like, oh, let's just gain a lot of life now.
I mean, it's a quarter of your starting life. Like, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
It's a lot of life. It's 600 is irrelevant, but 1,000 is almost you gain an extra turn.
Yeah.
You really think so?
I mean,
I don't know. Like, in Magic, that's like 5 life. If there was a 1-drop that gains you 5 life, it'd be like not that good at all, right?
No, it'd be completely terrible.
Exactly.
I'm not saying this card's good. I'm just saying it gaining that much life on a creature or something like that, like incidentally, can be broken. The fact that this is a spell chant, it's not on a creature, it doesn't do anything else. It's very lackluster. Probably not going to see
It's
play.
a spell chant. You can't even like instant it. You can't
No.
like force the opponent to attack and be like, "Oh, I gained 1,000 life," and you just tapped all your creatures.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's hard to play. Like you can play that with the 4-drop that casts the 1 for free and just cycle that for a little bit. But I don't know. It's not that good.
It's weird. It's one of those cards that it just
I thought it was kind of cool.
no. It's
I don't think it's good, but I think it's like they're comfortable enough with printing like higher value gain life cards.
Yeah.
Because I think in the beginning they're like, okay, we don't want life gain to get out of control, so they limited it to like little prints and things where you had to be like near death in order to gain life. And now they're like, okay, we have a really fast game. We might as well like up the life count a little bit here.
I think if you want to gain 1,000 life, the card that's coming up next is actually a card you want to do this with, which is the last drop, because it's more than just getting 1,000 life. For 1 green, 1 colorless, you may choose one, gain 1,000 life, or put target resonator with total cost 2 or less from your graveyard into the field rested. I think this card is actually playable. Putting a 2-drop cost into play, and it's an instant speed at the end of your opponent's turn.
It's any 2-drop, right? It's
Any
not
2-drop.
limited to a certain color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any 2-drop into play rested. So if you got a good enter the battlefield effect, or just, want to cycle this into something on,
Green, red, Lancelot, I guess.
Yeah, this just gets your Lancelot back. I think this
Sylvia
card
decks.
is nuts. And the gaining 1,000 life could be more relevant than putting a 2-drop in, although I don't believe that's a true statement.
In the
But it could
right situation.
Like if they have lethal and they're like tapping on the creatures to attack you, and you're just like, bam, 1,000 life, I'm alive.
And
Okay,
this
so
is also
can
never
you-
dead. Like, it's if they're exiling your stuff or something's going on, this card's never dead, you at least gain 1,000 life off of it.
I may be wrong about this, but I want to say when I read the article that Jordan wrote, he was saying that you can flash in this, the resonator and to block something, but it says it comes in rested. Can you flash in a tapped resonator to block
No.
something? Okay.
Yeah,
Because
I could
to
maybe
declare
I'm
block
wrong
is you have to
about
tap
what I
it.
read. Maybe Jordan didn't say that, but I could have swore he wrote that. I was like, ugh. It's like I don't know if that's how it works or not. But
When you choose a blocker from quick cast, you have to choose to. No, you have to cast it before the block step. Yeah, you have to cast it during the declare attack step, and then rest it to block.
okay.
If you move into blocking and flash it in, it's not allowed. Even if you flash it in non-rested during the block step, it's not allowed to block because you flashed it in when you outside of the combat step.
Okay.
It's a weird little priority thing in where you can't mess with it. At least that's how it is in Magic. You have to flash it in during the attack step in order to block during the block, or otherwise it's not a part of the combat
Okay. Yeah, but in Magic,
because of priority choices.
Yeah, that's the thing about Force of Will. It's like really weird moving into each combat step.
Yeah.
Like you have to announce, "Oh, I'm entering combat phase," and then
I'm entering another
entering
combat
attack phase.
So-
entering...
The way that it's worded in Force of the Will, I'm pretty sure this is what it is after you move out of the declare attacker step, you ask your opponents if they want to cast anything. If you say no, then it reverts priority back to the active player. Then it goes to the block step, and then immediately reverts priority back to one of the players, I forget who, to which it then says that the only thing that you can do from that point is declare blockers. If you do anything else, it passes that priority, and then so there's no blocker, and then you do the thing because you already decided no blockers. You have to choose block or no block, and if you cast something else, that means you chose no block. You literally have no other choice after you passed out of when you moved into blocker step. So you had to do it during the the declare attacker step.
Wait, so if they declare attackers, then you have another priority after the declare attackers,
Right, so they declare attackers, then you can flash something in before it moves to the blockers. But once it moves to blocker, you must choose yes or no on block. So you can't flash anything in during blocking.
So you can't flash anything in before they declare
So
attackers?
you have to say in response, no. So when he attacks him as a Lancelot, he goes, Lancelot, you like, in response, I flash in my feasting. If you say, okay, declare blocks, I flash in feasting, he's attacked. You declared no blockers. But you get to still use the effect if it doesn't deal damage, but you can't have feasting block because you've already chose not to block. Yay, rules. I think.
Confusing.
Yeah. Don't become a judge because you'll forget what you do. No, judging multiple games, I judge Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, not Pokemon in multiple years, but whatever. I still count it. Magic and Force of Will, and I get confused on the stack all the time now. Back when it was just one of them, I was like, I know what I'm doing. Now I have no idea what I'm doing.
I can't play Magic now.
No,
it's like so weird. I want to attack like creatures. Mm-hmm. It'd be so much better if I could attack creatures.
Or even one at a time. I get so messed up trying to play other games now. I can't even remember how to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
What's a Yu-Gi-Oh?
Right?
That's a trap card.
And then
it's a chance to hit back.
Yeah. Oh man, just switching from game to game to game is so difficult. It's hard to remember what I'm doing in and out of different ones, and judging every Friday for Magic, and then coming back and judging Force of Will. I get really just tripped up. Because there are just a small, minute differences that you really can't decide what you want to go with. You only have ever played Magic outside of this, right?
I played a little bit of Pokemon, a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, but never competitively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say most of us are coming from the Magic background. For the most part,
that's the
right?
strongest background I've had.
Yeah. I mean, I love all the other games, but Force of Will has definitely got to be where my money is right now. So
It's the best game like out there. Best competitive game. It's not random at all.
yeah, no, then that's what I love about it is the fact that I
really like it.
yeah
There's
less
no
variance.
RNG. There's no RNG, and there's like very little RNG, but
No, just randomly. I mean, we had that problem just a little bit earlier today when we were playing a game of Commander. I didn't draw a land, and you drew everything perfect. It was like no contest. And I don't want to play a game where I don't get to play sometimes, and my opponent doesn't get to play sometimes. That doesn't sound fun at all, and that's got to be the reason why Force of Will is the best game out there.
Everyone gets to play.
I mean, you could say that there's that Yu-Gi-Oh! Technically is a game that you have perfect resource in, to which I then say it gets banned immediately afterwards because it's too good, and enjoy your ban list, Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm only really saying that as a not somebody who's actually mad. I actually love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, but the community for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of toxic and also very hard to support as a store person. There's a lot of stores in this town and around the Bay Area that won't carry it in their store because of the customers that it brings in.
why?
Why
are they all so bad?
It brings in Salinas. They don't play it because it brings in people that will break into your store, steal your stuff. Watsonville does have a store that does play it, but it also brings in a lot of gang members, which scares a lot of people away. People who buy from my store will tell me about incidences where they
play Yu-Gi-Oh.
They do though. They tell me stories about being scared to show up to the local
I
events.
want to meet these guys.
No, I've had them come into my store too, where like I don't care. I used to work at a tattoo studio before I did this. I tattooed for 7 years, and I worked on bikers and military folk and everybody under the sun, and didn't care about who I was working on, whatever. But here, it is very weird in a family setting store where no cursing or anything is loud or anything like that, and a guy comes in with like 3 raindrop tattoos right here, all thugged up. I mean, I really don't care about tattoos, but a guy that is, you know, what's up, big old, like, you know, north side tattooed on his chest, comes in here, you know, give me that Yu-Gi-Oh pack.
He's
And
got
I'm
a gun in his pocket. Yeah, you got a Yu-Gi-Oh!
no, like, I'm not joking. That does happen. That's some of my client base, because they can't find packs where they're living, so they come all the way out here just to get them sometimes. And it's really off-putting. Like, I'm confused. And outside of that, even normal kids, like, normal teenagers, it's the most theft-ridden culture of card players. They talk crap to each other all the time. I've had to kick more people out of Yu-Gi-Oh! For cursing at their opponents and anything like that than any other game that we had in store. That's happened 3 times in Magic tournaments so far for me, and 0 in Force of Will. I don't know what it is. Vanguard doesn't have this problem, and even though I hate Vanguard and I like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like literally the only community that is toxic, and the company is also jerks to all of their patrons.
Is it the company that just like, I'm gonna ban this so you all get mad? And
Yeah.
then, like,
It's there's so many problems with the Yu-Gi-Oh community that I almost have considered multiple times to stop carrying in the store. Also because I get stuck with a lot of dead product a lot too. I changed my thing behind me. I was almost going to look at it. The Yu-Gi-Oh... Sorry, we're not turning this Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, I promise. But I just want to actually get this out of here real quick. The Yu-Gi-Oh Premium Gold, just for reference, people, of what they can do, is they printed a whole bunch of really good cards for the format and then nerfed it completely to where the store got stuck with a ton of dead product. Literally printing cards that were, before this was printed, were like $40, $60 cards, and there's almost nothing in that premium gold set more than $2 now.
did they just ban it or something?
They gave you only one of those certain things, or printed a better version of it and just nerfed the things in general. Or they've printed it to oblivion to where you literally have so many copies of this rare card at common that it doesn't even matter.
Oh, man.
And this box was just kind of one of those tipping points of like, what's the point? When you could buy a box for MSRP of $14.99, we sell them for $12. Sometimes less if you buy 3 or more for a discount. You can buy one of those packs that it only comes with 3 packs in it. You buy that and you open up literally $5 worth of cards in it at best. It's not worth it. There's no reason to buy those packs. You can just buy everything offline for cents. You know, it's the company kind of just jerks you around. Force of Will isn't the packs aren't worth very much. You open up a pack and you at least get 3 rares though. You get stuff that you need for your deck. Like you come out breaking about even with Force of Will, which is at least nice. In Magic you can totally spike and get like, you know,
Hundreds.
you know, really
thousands.
good packs. So it's really, Yu-Gi-Oh's a weird thing, and I know I'm going to get chewed up about this at some point in the comics or comments if somebody
In the
is
comics,
super,
probably
comics.
too.
You know, if somebody's a super big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, but I mean, I have a hard time dealing with it in the store.
They
It's
probably
really
agree
weird.
with you. Like, it's the
Maybe.
company.
Actually, that is true. Everybody that does play here agrees with me on it, and they all talk crap about each other all the time. It's really fun. And also, all of my favorite players that were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! All play Force of Will now.
Yay! Convert
Yay, guys.
everybody.
And that's mainly thanks to one guy who I don't doubt watches this, but if he does, thank you, Trevor. And Oliver. You're awesome as well, Oliver. That's another thing, is nobody that... I think we only have one person, which is Doug, that watches our videos. So hi, Doug.
Julian watches our videos. He was in that
But he doesn't
R&R
play
podcast. He was.
Well,
in
he's a
college.
part-
He's gonna be playing here soon.
Yeah, and he used to be a part of our team-ish, sort of, as in
For
he
a
was
day.
on here. Yeah, for a day, which I would like to have him back.
What the hell are these guys talking about?
Right? I'm just going off, and you guys don't stop me at all. Yay! It's the J Podcast Day. Thank you all for tuning in. I was your host, Jay Phillips, joined as always with Don Bowie,
Hey.
Patrick Collins,
See you later.
and thanks for watching JCast.